Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. So how will you challenge yourself this year? What would be that one goal for you that would be so crazy awesome if you accomplished it? Well, in this podcast, I'm going to share 5 lessons that I learned from a virtual mentor of mine. He passed away a few years ago. You may have heard of him, Jim Rohn. And I'm also going to share a few insights I have on tools and resources that my wife Hillary and I have used to achieve some great goals through the years. I'll include these links in the show notes too. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Perry Tinsley here, and welcome to the Power Blast podcast, the power of possibility, passion, and purpose. And, I hope your Christmas was really awesome. And here we are at the end of the year, about ready to head into the year of 2019. And many of us, probably for the past month have considered, how will you challenge yourself this year? How am I going to do that? Are you going to reach new goals, dream bigger, make more money, live fitter, healthier, personally grow? The beginning of the year, most people use as, kind of that goal, or they have several goals that they want to accomplish in 1 year's time. And I know for me, I probably break it down to like 1, 2, or 3 major goals that I really like to accomplish, but I like to address different things along the way. So as I'm going along, I thought I would share with you, I'll share some resources that Hillary and I are going to be using to kind of plan our year ahead. And you may want to consider using those, or maybe you have your own. But I also, as I was exploring this, I got to thinking, who's really, I've got so many mentors that I've had in my life, from teachers, my parents, my Hillary. Gosh, she's really helped me out. But there are some mentors that are more on a virtual level, where I've either listened to their podcast or caught some books or video training that they've done. And one of them is a guy, he called himself a farm boy from Idaho. And he passed away a few years ago, but the lessons that he spread around this world were super, super valuable. I'm just going to share a few lessons, but if you want some great content, just Google Jim Rohn. That's R-O-H-N is how his last name is spelled. And just 5 great lessons. One, it all starts with you. And I think I realized that. Jim Rohn says, for things to change, you have to change. And we can look at it. We could say the economy is bad, or we have family problems, or there's politicians that may be corrupt, or whatever it is. We can complain about it, but there's really no point in complaining about it, because what I've learned is that if I'm going to improve my life, it's going to boil down to me improving it. I can improve my financial situation by learning new skills. I can improve my health by doing, playing sports, or starting to work out, or making better choices in my eating habits. I can improve my relationships with better verbal communication. So, think about what change that you could, are wanting to do today. That was just one of the things. I kind of realized that I know I talk a lot about health and fitness, and that's where I realized I was looking at many quick fixes out there that probably wouldn't have fixed anything. And I realized, if I'm going to change my unfit condition, being overweight and overwhelmed, it's going to have to start with me. I'm going to have to do something about it. There isn't going to be some magical wand that just makes everything the way I imagine that I want it. It's going to take some work. Number 2 is to never stop learning. Jim Rohn said, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. So it doesn't matter where you stand. What matters is where you want to go. So if you want to move forward in this fast, crazy, wild, fast-paced world that we live in, take some courses, do some self-personal development, read motivational books. There's a lot of podcasts out there that are free. Check out your library. There's a ton of content there. I know a lot of people are they're ordering from Amazon and doing all the ebooks and stuff, but You can get ebooks from your library. Learn some essential skills. That's the next one. Third thing is to stop procrastinating. Oh my gosh, am I talking to myself? Maybe I recorded this podcast just for myself. I won't say I'm the king of procrastination, but it influences me. Because Jim Rohn says, what is easy to do is also easy not to do. And there was a book a while back by a guy by the name of Darren Hardy. I'm actually going to share one of his tools with you in a second. He wrote a book called The Compound Effect. And as you're going along with the compound effect, just these simple little actions are either, if you're doing them or not doing them, it'll either help you work closer to your goals or away from your goals. And I thought that was just kind of that's a very simplistic part of the book, but it's an amazing read and just helps you really simplify little simple actions that you can do to reach your goals. So, when you're starting new things, like learning new skills or a new language or a new workout program, you might feel a little overwhelmed or sore at the beginning, but everything is easy as long as you break it down and take it one step at a time. Tell that to me when I first started working out. I could barely do a couple push-ups, but after I kept practicing little bits at a time, eventually I was able to do 5 or 10 or 30 or 50, those sort of things. So if you remember when you were learning, but it's easy not to do. So just saying that I'm too old or too young or I don't have time, stop procrastinating. Just take the first step, then the second, then the third, and just keep going. I think you've heard me share those tips before if you've been listening to this podcast over the years. Number 4, take care of yourself. I love how Jim Rohn has said, take care of your body. It's the only place where you have to live. Good point. In order to enjoy life and success, you have to feel good in your body, and that may be getting in good shape. It may be that can help with feeling overwhelmed and feeling a little bit happier and having a little bit more energy. So some ideas: go to the gym today. Notice that I didn't say go to the gym starting next year. Or work out from home like I do. Or, if the gyms are too crowded or if it's too intimidating at the gym or maybe too expensive, you can do that. But just make some simple, doable choices on what you can eat to feel better, become stronger. That could help with inflammation or bloating. And I'll post a few links if eating healthy and maybe you want to drop a little bit of weight or just feel a little bit better. I'll drop some links in the show notes of recommendations that I have that could possibly help you out in that arena. Number 5 is to start making good habits. Motivation is what motivation is what gets you started, but habit is what keeps you going. And that was said by Jim Rohn. Success, that it's a collection of good habits and doing them every day, doing them consistently. And I know a lot of times that's where many people fall off, and kind of drift off course. And once again, it's kind of like, well, it's easy not to do. And then it's easy to forget. And then to feel like, oh gosh, I got to put this goal back on hold. And it's just not one of those once in a while things when you feel like it sort of thing. That's kind of a big thing. I'll share a tip here in a second, but starting the day with the most difficult task, this might be an idea. Starting the day with the most difficult task can get that out of the way. It's kind of like the book by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog, where you take the most difficult, most challenging thing, get that off your plate right away, and other things will seem easier. That kind of goes along with the procrastination thing. So to-do lists can help out, but don't make making to-do lists part of your to-do list. I've done that. Just choose one habit at a time and focus on that one habit and get it to where you can master it. Once again, I'm saying this to myself because it's very easy in today's world to want to multitask, but very poorly accomplish anything when you try to do that. Where when you focus on one thing, it can make such just bigger gains of what you could do with the habit. So educate yourself. Stop making excuses. Learn new skills. Make it one new habit at a time, and you'll be on the fast track to success. So here's a few resources that we're going to use this year. One, it's this book right here. It's I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll read it to you. Yeah, actually, I'm holding it up now. You can see the black stuff here. But the book is called Living Your Best Year Ever, and it's actually a workbook of some sort. There's open pages in here where you write down some goals and things like that. Written by Darren Hardy, and I followed the framework for this for several years. He had a download, a PDF download, many years ago that kind of was the skeleton framework of this particular book, and I've been using that over the years. And I had this. I've actually had this for a couple of years now, and just never. It's been on the shelf because I've kind of had my system, my thing, right? But I opened this up, and I love how it starts off because he's saying, Darren Hardy is, and Jim Rohn was also a mentor of Darren Hardy, so there's kind of a little connection for you there. The why is more important than the how, and you got to have why power to go along and do that, because having a strong why will push you through those times when it gets too hard, too mundane, too boring, or just too challenging for you. And that's going to happen when life likes to throw you obstacles. But when you have a powerful why of why you want to reach that particular goal, you're going to push forward. He actually has a story in here of, and I won't, I'm just kind of paraphrasing it a little bit, of two families that were at war. Or two tribes, I think it was, two tribes, and they lived in mountainous areas. Well, I think one lived in the valley and one lived in the mountains, and one tribe kidnapped a baby. And so the tribe in the valley was got their strongest men, and they were going to go and get this baby. But they weren't mountain climbers. They didn't know how to navigate the trails, and they just kept going. And they, after several days or weeks, whatever, they only got so far, like not even like 100 feet up the mountain, and decided, gosh, what are we going to do? In the meantime, they see this woman coming down the mountain from their tribe, and there's the baby strapped to her back. And they're like, how did you do this? We tried to do this. We can navigate this. And she basically looked at him and said, well, it wasn't your child. She had that big why, that big reason of why she needed to go and take on things. So I know, there's probably a better way to tell that story, but I liked how it illustrated the point that when you've got a strong why, you're going to push forward. That's what happened to me when it came time to exercise and work out. I knew that if you listened to last week's podcast, I was at a tipping point. And I needed my why to be strong, and that's where I started. There were lots of obstacles along the way. There were times when I felt defeated, times when I started to drift off course, and it would have been very easy to just give up. But I kept going because I had that strong why of why I wanted to do that. And my why has changed over the years. When I started my own business, my why was I had a German Shepherd that needed medical assistance, and several times his medical bills were going up into the 5-figure area, and I wanted him to be around. He was my why. So I came up with a way to become an entrepreneur and develop an income stream that could help me with that why. Owen was my why for many years. So when you've got that powerful why, you'll look for ways to do it and to accomplish and push through. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And here's one other free tool that's pretty crazy cool. We've done it a few times. There's a guy by the name of Gary Ryan Blair. He's called the Goals Guy, and he just released a new 22-page manifesto called Start Right, Your 2019 Game Plan. And it's basically a detailed blueprint for making quantum leap in your performance and for starting 2019 with basically a raging fire under your behind. So you can get that manifesto and just use that. I'll post a link to that gold mine in the show notes. And so let me ask you, so 2019, what's going to make it crazy cool for you? What do you want to achieve? you must have a big why. Otherwise, it's going to be easy to put it off or dismiss it altogether. If you think back to other goals you've been wanting to achieve and maybe you didn't accomplish them, probably because there wasn't a strong why behind it. So that's my wish for you today. I hope these resources help you. I hope some of these tips gave you some food for thought. And if you felt that they were valuable and you wanted to know of somebody that could benefit, please pass it on so they can benefit from that. I hope you have yourself a great rest of your 2018 and 2019 absolutely rocks for you. Thanks for subscribing. I so appreciate you very, very much. You rock, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.